Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is Season 4, Episode 1, and that means the start of a massive, massive year ahead for the local football scene. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'll be with you over the next 60 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit longer. And joining me, as he does week in, week out, is my co-host, the ever reliable, the oopsie daisy. I think we've hit some gremlins there. The ever reliable. There we go. Steve Curtin, how are you, Steve? It is an absolute pleasure to have you back on board the Geelong Region Soccer Show train. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. It's been a big weekend in Geelong, and the only thing bigger than the Foo Fighters playing at GMHBA this week has got to be the return of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. So we just had to one-up. I know they're a big band on a world scale. We had to one-up them, so that's why we came back this week. We chose this week specifically to come back, even though today is your wife Maria's birthday today, so happy birthday to her.
It is. And if I don't mention that, geez, she'd probably kill me, that's for sure. Imagine that. What a great wife she is. It's her birthday and she's allowing me to do the show on her birthday and not take her out for dinner or anything like that. I guess when you've been married more than 10 years, that's probably what happens, you know. But no, we did go out on the weekend for a nice spot of Thai. She loves her Thai, as do the kids. As do I, actually. So blessed to have some fantastic Thai restaurants around town, and a Thai chef in Lara is the best, absolutely the best. Cheeky plug there. What about yourself, Steve? What did you get up to over the weekend?
Well, I got out and saw some live music. That wasn't actually the Foo Fighters. It was a good local band called Hooper Crescent. Played their first gig for about 11 months. So that was nice after a lot of aborted ones through lockdowns and stuff. And then I found myself on a wet and windy scaffold with a young fella called Brent Sternberg on Saturday night at Altona. He was calling his first game of NPL Victoria. He did a great job. And unfortunately for one of our western suburb clubs, one of our near neighbours, Altona, couldn't get the job done there and failed to score in their third consecutive game. So, there's plenty happening, and just been out for a run tonight and just trying to cool down now with a bit of Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's a pleasure to be able to bring it to everyone too, because it's a show by the Geelong community for the Geelong soccer community, and we want your involvement, we want your buy-in, we want you to be involved and tell us what you want to see on this year's show, and we want you to feel part of it and want you to tune in every week, most importantly, and contribute. So that's what we're here for, and that's what we're hoping to do this year and have a big year.
Well, we've been listening to the feedback, and that is why we're going now to the later time slot, the newer time slot of 8 p.m. And one of the reasons being is people have said, it's 7 o'clock a little bit too early. We're just having dinner, or we're coming back from training, or whatever the case may be. So now we're going to an 8 p.m. time slot. We'll see how that goes. Means you can have dinner with the family and then sit down in front of the big TV and watch us. So a big cheerio to everyone that's already jumping on board in the comment section, and fantastic. Look, Santino Mamone, he's a big supporter of this show. We've got to mention him. A real big thank you to him, because he's been doing a little bit of work behind the scenes. So, but mate, big show tonight. What awaits us tonight? Let's go through it.
Yeah, so we've got, we'll start with the news desk shortly, but then after that, we've got a couple of great guests from the Geelong Galaxy, and it's going to be a very big year for the Geelong Galaxy. We're going to speak to their incoming president, MARINA KRASIC. She'll be coming on at about 7:20. They're going to speak to one of their young star players, MAKAYLA STAEHR, who will be coming on around 7:35. So we've got a lot to catch up on the Galaxy. They've had a very big off season, and I think it's going to be a really big 2022 for the Galaxy Football Club, and looking forward to seeing what they can do this year. What about yourself, mate? What do you think they'll go all right this year?
Well, look, we're going to find out all of the update information. They've moved to a new home. They've got a new president. They've got a new coach. So, yeah, it'll be really good to see. And look, Galaxy are an amazing club. They're the only female-only club in Geelong. They're the highest ranked female club as far as the seniors and the juniors. Actually, the juniors play in the JPL, Junior NPL girls. And to boot, they are also the first club that has sponsored the Geelong Region Soccer Show. In fact, tonight's episode, which is episode 73 in total, we hope to get to maybe to 100 by year's end. But they are sponsoring episode number 1. So look, we want your club to jump on board. We've got about 4 or 5 clubs already lined up. So a massive shout out to all those clubs that have lined up. I actually might mention those names. We've got the Masters Summer League. We've got Lara United. We've got Corio Soccer Club. We've got Surfside. We're working on a few others as well at the moment. North Geelong Soccer Club is almost over the line as well. And we may have another football organisation coming up shortly. So look, we want the clubs to support it. We want you as individual supporters to support this show, because look, at the end of the day, Steve, if people don't want to support this show, really, what are we there for? And look, as an individual, you can become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show and show your support. And there's the how you can do it. Sign up, become a member for as little as $15 a month. www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. All of our members and all of our advertisers / sponsors this year also get a daily Geelong football news bulletin sent to them every weekday. And what that means is probably the only medium that is producing original news content about the Geelong football scene. So it's an added bonus. That alone is worth the while. And look, at the end of the day, if it's the clubs, they're not going to support it. The small businesses that support this sport, and at the same time, individual supporters. Look, I'm afraid the Geelong Region Soccer Show, this could be the last year. I hate to sound so dramatic, but it is quite dramatic, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a somber note to start things off. But having said that, look, it's going to be a big year. We're really excited about it. And without further ado, Steve, you're going to step away, aren't you, and start preparing the news desk?
Yeah, well, just quickly before that, Joey G's called us out there because we've said the times based on our old 7 p.m. time slot, but of course, all the times are now 8 in front of them instead of 7. So good pick up by Joey there.
Oh, excellent. Well done. You mean 8:35? Yeah. What do we say?
Old habits die hard.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Steve, I'll get you to step away for the time being. And as you do so, we're going to prepare ourselves now for the news desk. Folks, don't go away. You're tuning in to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is season 4, episode 1. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be a big year. Stay with us. Don't go away.
All right, well, let's kick off the news desk for the new year for 2022. And it is the 7th of March, and our first news item is the Nike FC Cup. And Geelong Rangers have had a successful first day in the Nike FC Cup. 5-0 winners over the visiting Rosebud Soccer Club yesterday. Goals from Felicia Johannesson, Jess Pitts, Ali Van Dalen, Danny Mandich, and April Anthony. Getting the job done there in a convincing win for Body Kipper and Geelong Rangers women's side, who are looking like they're going to have a very big season this year, I think, Tonchi.
Yeah, look, from all accounts, very convincing win against the fellow State 3 opposition. At the moment, it still hasn't been confirmed, but it's likely that Rangers will enter the Metropolitan State League system, this being their first year that they're moving up to Melbourne. That's their senior team. Likely to follow in the footsteps of North Geelong Warriors, who last year played in State 3. I think from memory, 8 wins from 8 games, and they have been moved to State 2 alongside Lara United. And then further up the rank, we've got Galaxy United, tonight's club in focus, who are in VPLW. But Rangers, quite convincing, 5-0 winners. I think they were 3-0 up at the break. And from what I'm hearing is there's still, I guess, that's they haven't even realised their full potential. So an ominous sign for other clubs in that competition. But great to see the women's competition or the women's program up at Geelong Rangers really going to another level. So that can only be good for Geelong women's soccer.
Yeah, they've been building for a long time, and they put in some good performances last year in the local league, having two very strong squads, not even one, but two strong squads in the women's comp last year. So I really think that in the State 3 that they could be a good shout for the title.
Yep. And while we play the women's, the Rangers women's footage in the background, mind you, courtesy of Ryan Horrocks. Thank you very much, Ryan Horrocks, the head coach of Lara United women's State 2 side. He was out there because it's interesting. Ryan's dad, the legendary Tony Horrocks, who for many years was the head coach at Lara United. He's now the assistant coach to Foddy Kiprian up there at Rangers. So that's a great deal of experience there in the Rangers coaching ranks. So thank you to Ryan Horrocks who provided this footage from yesterday at Myers Reserve. Steve.
All right, well, we push on to the men's knockout competition now with the Australia Cup, where we saw three of our local clubs in action across the weekend. And we'll start on a high with Corio Soccer Club coming from 2-0 down at halftime to get a 4-2 win over the visiting Warragul Soccer Club. So Santino Mamone, he was very, very happy about this one. Chol Gabriel scored a double. Lorenzo Princigali and Santiago Breton were also on the score sheet there. So a pretty thrilling afternoon there. And that one was actually played out at Myers Reserve as well. So, a happy hunting ground at Myers Reserve for the Corio Soccer Club there. A really good win through to the next round. We'll let you know when that draw happens for the next round as to who are Corio facing in the fourth round of the Australia Cup in 2022, but well done to them. Well, we move on to some of the other results that weren't as flattering, I suppose. Lara, they've had a great start in the comp, but they travelled to Frankston Pines, a big road trip for them. 1-0 down at halftime, ended up going down 6-0. So it's been a couple of really good wins in previous games in the early rounds of the Cup for Lara, but they weren't able to get the job done against the fancied Frankston Pines and another fancied team, Sebastopol, the Vikings, 6-2 over Barwon at Ballarat on Saturday. So Barwon was at least able to make it respectable with a couple of goals there. Milton Bailey free kick and earlier at Nathan Nedzwierski goal as well. So a couple of goals there for Barwon, and they have a lot of positives to take out from that game. I'm hearing from Dale Harris. So some good news coming into the season, hopefully, for Barwon in State 5. And Surf Coast were in the hat for this round as well. They forfeited their game to Altona City, so they are now out of the Australia Cup. So there you go. Corio flying the flag at the moment until our couple of NPL sides come into the competition, probably in the next round, I think.
I think it's the next round. So Geelong and North Geelong will join Corio. So as far as the men's competition, the top three ranked Geelong teams or clubs, they are the only ones left now in the nationwide knockout tournament, the newly named Australia Cup. Now, Steve, we've got some local young guns doing incredibly well overseas in Europe. And this week, they're actually going to be featured on our sister program, one of three programs produced by Community Sports Media Services, the Ozcrow Soccer Show, which I co-host along with another former Geelong person who's now made Gold Coast his home, Josip Zilic, who most people in Geelong football circles know. These two young guns who are North Geelong Warriors, making it big in Europe.
Yeah, Lucas Skoko and Nicholas Vlahovic, there they are pictured there. So Luca had a really good season in the seniors last year. He picked up the BNF actually, and Nick Vlahovic doing a good job as well over there. And so they've gone to Croatia. They've picked up some deals at some clubs over there. I suppose we'll hear more about this on Wednesday night. Are we allowed to give any more away?
Oh, we can. Yeah, they'll definitely be speaking all the way from Croatia. Luka Skoko, so Josip's son, they both trialled at Hajduk Split, where Josip was the captain. In fact, he was the first foreign captain of Hajduk Split ever. I'm told that's an incredible achievement, and his son now is following in his footsteps. He signed with second division side from the outskirts of Split called NK Dugopolje. And Niki Volarovic, he's signed for a Split suburban side called Primorac Dobrec, which is in a beautiful, beautiful part of very coastal. And I think from their ground, you can actually see the Adriatic Sea. So it's a beautiful kind of thing, a lower league side. But I think the key there is trying to get some minutes playing senior football. So we'll find out more about that straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, on Wednesday night. That's at 8:30 p.m. and that will be the Oz Crow Soccer Show. That will be streamed also, simulcast on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Absolutely. So looking forward to that one. So make sure you tune in to find out how the two local lads are going over in Croatia. And we'll touch on last night's Football Out West show. We had extra time, which came first. There's a bit of a picture of some fashionable looking gentlemen sitting in like a TV studio that looks like something off Optus Sports or Stan Sport FC there. That was taken from last night's show. Mystery studio, can't say where it is. Extra time, that come before regular time. Zoki Markowski, the Avondale coach, was on for a chat about his weekend's game and the upcoming fixtures in NPL Victoria. And Davey Van Schip, who's a player/assistant coach now, and a son of a gun as well. He's at Essendon Royals, and they had a win over Caroline Springs George Cross in the Australia Cup. So we chatted to Davey about that, and then we talked to a popular man at the moment, Nick Galatas from the AAFC, the Association of Australian Football Clubs, about the latest paper released with the proposals for the National Second Division. And we should make mention as well tonight, given that it is Geelong Galaxy special show, that we're likely to see a women's National Second Division as well in the pipeline as well. So that's something we'll bring up with the girls from Galaxy shortly as well, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. That is an exciting time. I mean, we do find ourselves in a difficult time, both economically and I guess with current affairs and what you're not. But when you sort of look at that, it's quite exciting to think that, within a year, within 12 months or 24 months, worst case scenario, we could have a national second division. So that will be really, really exciting. So, look, if you missed out on last night's show, certainly jump on the YouTube channel, so the Football Out West Soccer Show YouTube channel, and you'll be able to catch up on both the extra time, which is the first 45-minute show, which is all the current affairs, the news. We spoke to some of the coaches, as you mentioned, and then the press box, which is the second 45 minutes. So they're like two separate shows. Instead of watching this one show for an hour and a half, you can actually choose to watch either or both of the shows for 45 minutes. So that's a little bit of an innovation as far as we're concerned at the Football Out West. But hopefully there'll be a few more innovations as far as the Geelong Region Soccer Show. But Masters, that's one innovation over the last few years that has really, really taken off. The Geelong Masters League, they've actually got a beer named after him this year, thanks to Brew Colo, which is a local brewing company, a craft beer brewing company from Ocean Grove. Look at that. How good is that?
That's fantastic. And if you've happened to have the opportunity to try the Masters Summer League Summer Ale, that's well named, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, leave your reviews in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think of it. I might have to try and find a case of that ourselves to try out, because it looks good. It'd even look good sitting on the mantelpiece, though, wouldn't it, that kid?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we go on, Steve, our two guests, MARINA KRASIC, the president, and MAKAYLA STAEHR, young and up-and-coming senior player who has really broken into the senior ranks and is producing some exciting football on the field. They have joined us. They're in the green room. They're eagerly ready to wait. So we're gonna get through some more of these news items, and then we're going to go to the ladies from Galaxy United. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Mate, over to you.
All right. So are we going to move on to the Geelong Community Cup and the Country to Coast Cup tournaments there? Yeah. So, Geelong Community Cup, that was played at Myers Reserve as well, as we're saying, a very busy venue, Myers Reserve, over the pre-season, and North Geelong getting a 2-1 win over Geelong in a thrilling, entertaining match, I'd say, in the final, in warm conditions there as well. And if I'm not mistaken as well, Corio got the job done in the third place playoff as well there. So well done to all the clubs there. And you can see North Geelong looking pretty happy with themselves there. They played pretty well, but Geelong looked to knock the ball around very well. And they picked up some good recruits in midfield that'll set them in a good place for NPL 3, I think, this season. They'll be at the pointy end as well. And hopefully hopefully a lot of our clubs are at the pointy end after not having so much of that last year, even though the season didn't complete.
Now, speaking of innovations, a very, very exciting innovation, and hopefully this will become an annual event, the Country to Coast Community Cup, which is kind of like, I guess, the Geelong Community Cup for those clubs that are not involved in the Geelong Community Cup. We had 6 clubs involved: Surf Coast, Deakin Ducks, Warrnambool Wolves, Barwon Soccer Club, Golden Plains, and then Melbourne City. Now, that's not Melbourne City, the A-League Melbourne City. That's Melbourne City, the State League 4 Melbourne City.
Right. The team from Spotswood, not...
Spotswood, is it? Yeah, I think they're Argentinian-backed or something like that.
They are indeed.
There would have been some, no doubt, some South American flair on display. Now, that was held on Saturday, the 26th of February. Fantastic. From all accounts, it was a fantastic event. First one, inaugural event. And the winners of the inaugural event was the Surf Coast Football Club. So their first bit of silverware, I guess, for the year 2022. Great to see, more football, more competitive football happening around the region in the off season, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. There, they had a good win there. I think it was 3-0 in the final against Melbourne City. So they looked pretty happy there. Rob Panetta's side, pretty pleased with himself. It was an innovative tournament too, Tonch. 20-minute halves, a little bit American style. If the game was locked at full time, they went to penalties, and they had 2 pitches playing side by side. And the host, congratulations to the host as well for putting it on. Golden Plains there. They got 3rd place.
Now look at that on the screen
man
there.
On the scoreboard there.
We could not possibly have a news desk if we did not mention this. The Rayman, as he's affectionately known, Geelong boy Brenton Ray, who's an absolute stalwart at nearby Hoppers Crossing, loves his Melbourne Victory to bits. He was over the weekend named the Melbourne Victory Fan of the Month, and at last Saturday night's Victory game, he was there in his, look at that, on the big screen. He was celebrating his big milestone, if you like. Big shout out to Brenton. He is constantly involved in football, and he's collating scores when most people are asleep and what you're not. He's putting it up on social media Saturday nights, Friday nights, the draws. And if there is news to be broken, this man will break the news. So he's already been active on our news feed. Look, he's already said 749. I'll pop that thing up. 749 teams have entered into this year's Australia Cup competition, down 16 teams on the 21 edition. He's broken it down. I mean, the man has broken it down. ACT 20, New South Wales 162. Look at Victoria, always leading ahead, 211 clubs. So, and that's our Brenton Ray. Congratulations, mate. And that's just great stuff to have. Oh, there's a bit of everything.
That's a different look, isn't it? Oh, there we go.
It is. There you go. Yeah. It's just amazing and good on him. A big shout out to Brenton Ray. He deserves all his.
And he's pointed out there. Friday night, it was the night that it took place. It was a win.
Friday night.
Win over MacArthur as well, as if I was not mistaken. And he's a good numbers man. Those stats there that he reeled off, it would make Andrew Howe feel jealous of that ability to keep the numbers up. And he's so good that he does the scoring for Hoppers Crossing Cricket Club, and then he bolts it on a train to get to those Saturday night games straight from local cricket grounds. He sends the pitch updates, does a fantastic job, and as you say, if anything's happening, he'll make sure that you're across it. And I'm sure right now, from getting his name mentioned and his pitch up there, he's a little bit red and embarrassed, a bit like the same colour as that Ivan Caliver goalkeeper jersey, but very well done, mate. Very, very good job. Good to see you get your time in the spotlight on the pitch there on Friday night.
Good on him. Mate, we're already behind time because there's been so much news. I think we allocated about 10 minutes or 15 minutes to the news desk, but it's we've had so much news just to get through. I guess it is the first show back. So lots happening in the Geelong football community. And we're going to find out even more what's happening with Galaxy United, who are both our sponsor, but also our featured club in focus tonight. And it's time to bring on our first guest of the show. It's the president, the newly appointed president, MARINA KRASIC, and she's taken over from her partner, Branko Kristevski. So I think it's a seamless kind of transition. MARINA, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Absolute pleasure to have you on in 2022. How are you?
Very good, and I'm quite pleased to be on and for us to be sponsoring this first show.
Well, we're very, very pleased to have you guys on. A lot has been happening in the off-season. First of all, let's talk about the move to Hume Reserve. Now, there is, look, my little one trains there twice a week, so I've seen a lot of the changes that are happening, particularly with the new club rooms. Where are we at with that? And how did it first come about, the move to Hume Reserve?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, the move's been great. We cannot speak highly enough of the welcomeness we've had from the whole community, from Corio, and particularly Mario and his committee. So the move came about, I think, as everyone knows, within the greater Geelong region, we all struggle with the capacity of ground access and the componentry from there. So obviously with Corio, there was a reach out and a communication from there. I think the other thing that's a good advantage from us from a Galaxy perspective with Corio is they're developing their female program, and particularly from the mini roos and the youth. And this is something for us from a junior girls NPL license perspective that traditionally you didn't have a mini roos or like the community thing, which will be permitted to do in the future. And we've got a great opportunity to partner with Corio and develop and work with their female program. So, and of course, great new facilities, hopefully end of March. We've been told that the keys will be handed over. So, new clubhouse, 4 new change rooms, gymnasium and physio room. You can't complain.
Awesome. And look, Hume Reserve is, I guess, in many ways, and a lot of the old school football followers of Geelong will say Hume Reserve is kind of the spiritual home of Geelong soccer. There's been so much that's happened over the years. And it's just great to see Galaxy now are right in the heart of it, right in the mix of it. So that's going to be a great move. Steve, over to you.
Yeah, MARINA, I just wanted to ask first up from me, what was it like with the transition of the presidency from Branko to yourself? Was it an easy transition? Was there any sort of overlap of duties? Was
it a bloodless coup? Was there a coup?
Is he still carrying the can for part of the role, or are you just solely the person now?
No, I'm still very much we've got our committee, we've got our supporting group, and that I think I've been encouraged, and particularly being a female club, that we should have the female leadership in place. Openly, my challenge had been balancing work and this volunteering that we all do within there. So at a position where can handle the capacity in there, but most will know I've been very, very active behind the scenes, and particularly as well with my work that I've been doing with Football Victoria on just expanding the female game. And we've got a very strong commitment to regional areas. So even as a club, and let alone just in the soccer community that we do have there. So yeah, pretty seamless. Like I said, I think it's just been waiting to happen. So yes.
Now we've in the news desk. We actually saw we had some footage there of Geelong Rangers women. Did very well. They're stepping up to the state league, so they're going to be in State 3. North Geelong are moving up to State 2 alongside Lara, and then Galaxy is going to be in VPLW. That surely must augur well for the development and the quality of women's football in Geelong. Does that sort of help clubs like Geelong sort of say, okay, we've got these not rivals, but we've got these other clubs that are really getting their stuff together. So that now drives all of us to lift the standard, collectively speaking. And how do you see that? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is there not enough teams playing up in Melbourne? Is there too many teams playing up in Melbourne?
Look, I think any opportunity we do have for females to be engaged in the sport, we need to be encouraging and absolutely supporting as a community from there. And it's no different than the men's competition. You look at all the clubs from having the community teams, having teams playing all the different state leagues, and having, the region where we've got 2 clubs playing at the NPL. And so therefore Galaxy is at the highest level, and therefore that elite pathway there. So the females and the girls do have an opportunity where, you're playing at a state league or you want to play up at a higher level of a VPLW there. We do recognise as well with the girls and even with the boys as well, there is that challenge of travelling up to Melbourne and that commitment coming through. So I think it's positive. And I was in the GRFC meeting just prior joining
tell us what happened. Any secret?
No, nothing exciting.
What happens in meetings stays in meetings?
But what was positive from there, considering we're all recovering, call it at work, at schools, everywhere from the last 2 years of COVID, to hear that the senior women competition is going to go back to 2 divisions this year is fantastic. Brilliant. So I think that in itself is showing that people are, returning to the game. And I think that that's where the support will come from, that you do have the opportunity to play forward. Openly, we do find ourselves at the VPLW. We do very much the Surf Coast, Ballerine, Geelong region, but from Ballarat and even from Melbourne, we get our players from, because it is that opportunity to play at the elite level. And I think that's a part that we need to all embrace.
Absolutely. That is great news.
Yeah, now just following on, I suppose, from that question, with the future of women's football, hopefully a national second division for women's football as well by sometime in the next maybe 10 years or less, maybe 2026 was mentioned in the recent report. What do we think about our structures with the NPLW only having 8 teams? Is that good enough?
No, it's not. And very much personally, I think from when some of the restructuring did happen from the 10 teams, and, it's open knowledge that Galaxy senior women were in the NPLW and we didn't get relocated. There was a restructuring that happened by Football Victoria, and the opportunity to have grown it to 12, an opportunity to really clarify the VPLW competition, I think is there. If we do comparison against some of the other states over how they're structured in the female, I think there is some opportunities for us here in Victoria. And now, I think after the after the World Cup, Women's World Cup, I think we'll see a higher participation and some positive changes happening too.
It's good to see a lot of community level that, as you mentioned, Corio starting to build their own junior girls structures from the bottom up, and that's providing a real good platform, real good foundation. But it doesn't happen overnight. And we've seen at Galaxy also something that probably hasn't happened overnight is the development of some of the region's greatest young talent, who have now started to make their way into the senior squad. And look, I had the privilege of calling a few of the games last year, and one of those is going to be on the show later tonight, MAKAYLA STAEHR. But there's a lot of young players that are being given the opportunity, and it's like I'm calling some of these actions, and I'm looking at some of the girls, and they're playing like they're in their 20s, how mature they are. Yet they're only in some cases 15, 16, 17 years of age. So having that platform's incredible, but is this year going to be another one of those years where a lot of the younger talent is going to be given an opportunity, particularly now there's a new coach as well on board?
Yeah, absolutely. And already, we've had 4 practice games so far this season for our club, and we've tried to rotate through from the under 17s and even the under 15s for those that are, age appropriate, allowed to go through and to do that. It's a great opportunity for them to play at that level. We'll be definitely encouraging that and fully supported, with Jason, as the new coach, and he's been very well embraced. And, he's got the assistant of Harry, and we have Nick, doing the reserves team. So we've got a very strong and a very experienced coaching group.
Tell us a bit more about Jason. Is he similar to Rob Casher? Is he completely different? Rob Casher being the senior coach of last year. What's his style of coaching? What's his style of football that he kind of promotes?
Well, you're probably asking two technical questions. I think I've been I'm not. I remember I didn't grow up playing soccer, but look, from an observation perspective, I think it's really, and the feedback from the players as well. He really takes the time to explain through the games, the plays that he wants to be done down there with the whiteboard, and the patience that he's showing through to the players has been fantastic. So I think the feedback has been that they really learned a lot, and always got more to learn through. So he's obviously come from a very strong background, and I think even just with the practice games, we're seeing the results each game of the team clicking together, and the results showing it too.
Now, Marina, following on from that, one of the interesting things this season we've seen is a lot of the opportunities to play women's football have been set up with reduced fee systems and things like that from a lot of clubs around the place in Melbourne and in Geelong. Can you talk a bit about what the Galaxy have done this year to try and reduce the costs for players and also recruit more players, particularly to that place last year where the reserves side was a bit short on numbers and players had to double up and things like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, Galaxy is quite proud that this is actually our third year of offering a free program for our senior women, and we do this through the support of our sponsors, some who choose to be silent, but people who are committed to the women's games altogether. From a junior girls NPL, we also have the lowest fees that do exist there, again from the sponsorship component. So we are proud of that. I think the other thing that we're fortunate, and for the level that we're playing at, we also do offer or include as part of our program even strength and conditioning. So, all the teams are currently going through a 4-week pre-season cycle of doing the strength and conditioning, and this is to help pre-season with injury prevention and that. I think the other thing we're very focused for is playing on the field, but also the development off the field as well. We supported our seniors with mini-rees coaching last year. We actually were fortunate enough during these lockdowns of COVID of having the team manager of the Matildas guest speak and show a different pathway to remain engaged with the game. So that's, I think, some of the stuff that we also are able to offer as a club, and at the level that we play in, is the additional from playing on the pitch is the development off the pitch as well, and those other opportunities.
And you mentioned those opportunities as well, and there's a gym in the new facility there at Hume Reserve. Will the girls have access to that, or will they be looking to use other facilities elsewhere?
No, of course we'll have access to that. The strength and conditioning that we do is again by specialised people to run that program. So it's a 4-week cycle, which we actually did last year as well. What we've done this year though is just expanded it to our under 13s, but we did kick it off with our seniors. It was very positive received, so we've included all the girls in it. So that's a pre-season program that we often do.
Excellent. And that's aimed at, I guess, I'm guessing injury prevention and that sort of thing in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Yep. So, without there, and like I said, and as I mentioned, like I said, we do look at, and we've got a couple of people, once the new club rooms are opened up, some elite female athletes. I won't spoil the surprise yet for those from our club listening, not necessarily all soccer, but just demonstrating to the players, what they can do as a pathway within sport, nutrition and those things. We do absolutely look at like the full package.
Marina, last year was a tough year. We all know it was a very, very difficult year. But at one stage, it was a really tough year for Galaxy in the sense that there was not enough players for a reserve team. And some of the players actually had to double up just to keep Galaxy, I suppose, in the VPLW, which is quite admirable and quite incredible. How are numbers looking this year? Firstly, is there a likelihood that we're going to have a pretty strong numbers in the reserves as well?
Yeah, we've registered all our players, both from our juniors and our seniors, and so we have over 30 players registered with our seniors and reserves. So that's a good start. I mean, last year, whether we were talking sport or other things, we knew the challenges of being in a regional area, and as we communicated to particularly Football Victoria at the time, people going to Melbourne, it wasn't necessarily, the fear of COVID and stuff, but it was that knowing of 7 or 14 days isolation of having responsibilities of still having to work, having, either carer's responsibility in that. It was that fear of, being at a fuel station and stopping and then finding you get that little message coming through to say, guess what, you've been in a spot. So it was the away games that were the biggest challenge for us. And again, we were unique as a club in having to travel because most of the other competitions got paused in the over 18 levels as well.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the new season, certainly last year and previous years, Geelong Galaxy's been a leader in promoting their own brand on their social media and even broadcasting their games as Tonchi in particular. And I think I got to do one as well, got to cover the game and do a bit of commentary from the tower there at Stead Park, which is a lot of fun, of course, always too, to watch the girls from that vantage point and describe the action. Is there a lot of things in store to promote the club this year? On the socials and that sort of thing, where such a great work's been done in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. We're planning to continue the live streaming this year as well. We do have a couple of those that do follow us on social media, a couple of international signings who had their first run this weekend as well in the practice game. So, we know we're going to get a bit more of a global profile as well, which would be positive for us there. And then definitely, as we've talked about, the move to Hume with Corio will allow us to do a lot more, I think, events and activities. We are working through with Football Victoria as much as possible to try and do double headers with the senior men. We know that works really well to try and encourage and get people, to watch the female game as well.
Fantastic. Now, Marina, we've got a new president this year. We've got a new coach. Now, is it true that the Galaxy have got a new mascot? Now, tell us about this photo. This is a photo taken. Now, was this a specially done Galaxy jumper, or was this? How did the girl get that?
So
that's amazing.
This is actually Emily Sutcliffe. Most will know Emily.
Yes.
So from the thing. So yes. So this is her pet. I apologise. I don't know the name, but yes. And we have joked. We actually got to get proper little coats for the pets so that they can properly go and advertise it. But yes, we have got a mascot, and we've got a bit of competition, I think, amongst the seniors for others to be included as a mascot too. So some fun activities going on.
That is absolutely brilliant. And speaking of Emily Sutcliffe, her mum, all the way from Wales, was a regular viewer of the stream. So Galaxy was definitely an internationally known, I won't say a commodity, a club, a brand. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
And is Lily the dog's name there? I can see Em in the comments there. It says, go Lily.
Yes.
Big cheerio to Em Sutcliffe, who's doing amazing things for football in the region, not just with Galaxy, but also with the Football Stars Academy and coaching some of the brightest young talent around town. Marina, we wish you all the very best for this year. Looking forward to some great things happening. Now, look, not just with the Geelong Galaxy, but as you mentioned, the women's side of things as well. Overall, and that is great news. You've heard it here, folks, on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Our first scoop, I guess, for 2022, that this year's competition is women's competition is going to be 2 divisions. And I know the old or the outgoing president of Armstrong United, Mike, he's already been forgotten. Mike, oh gosh, he was talking. He was saying how important it was to have that we didn't have that last year, and there was a lot of players that were sort of, I guess, holding back and not wanting to be a part of that. So that is great news, Marina.
That's excellent for the region.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you once again. Wishing you all the very best and good luck for season 2022.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. That was MARINA KRASIC, the newly appointed president of Galaxy United. Great to have Marina on board, Steve. Yeah, look, exciting times for Galaxy indeed coming up this year with the big move, and it's going to Hume Reserve is going to be a real big hub of activity, won't it?
Yeah, it's going to be great, and I think the only way we can amplify it even more is to get little jersey player names on the back of the dog jerseys there as well. So that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think Mike Parker we were talking about, so there'd be a shout out
Parker,
to
that's the one.
Parker as well. Yeah,
that's
one of our good supporters of the show in the past as well. So
my apologies. He's
good, really good chat there, and it sort of whets the appetite for what could be a really good season for the Galaxy and. Yeah, nothing's more exciting than a change of scenery and all this stuff that's happening for the Galaxy. So new facilities, new rooms, great.
Absolutely. Folks, we're going to take a little bit of a break. You're tuning in to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is Season 4, Episode 1, Episode 73, in fact, and it is sponsored by the Geelong Galaxy United Football Club. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we do return, we're going to be speaking with one of the brightest young talents in the senior team at Galaxy, MAKAYLA STAEHR. Don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is episode 73 or season 4, episode 1, however you want to look at it. Steve, it's time to introduce our next guest.
Yep, as I just try and swat a mosquito that looks like it's got into my room here. Our next guest, our second guest of the season, it is MAKAYLA STAEHR from the Geelong Galaxy side there. There she is on your screen there. A very warm welcome from Tonchi and myself. MAKAYLA, how are you going tonight?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you guys?
Love to have
Very
a smiling
good. We're
face.
excited to be back.
That's the way.
All right, we'll kick off the questions then, MAKAYLA. You're a versatile player, we've been told. If you had to say, what's your favourite position on the pitch, and where do you think you might be lining up this season if you're lucky enough to be, in the starting 11 in round 1?
Yeah, I'd say probably my favourite is striker, but I'm also happy to play on the wing. But if you put me basically anywhere else, I don't know what's going on. Whenever the coach starts talking about defence, I kind of zone out a little bit. So definitely up the front somewhere.
Well, I think the new coach, Jason, is sitting at home taking notes on that right now as we speak, I'm sure. And how is he to work with? Has he been a good coach so far?
Yeah, definitely. I've been told whatever I say tonight determines how many sprints we do tomorrow. So he's great. He's fantastic. No, he is. He's really good. Obviously, we loved having Rob as well. He was great. But Jason's just a bit of a breath of fresh air, a bit of a new perspective. And even just over the first couple of weeks of preseason, we've learned so much. As Marina told you guys, he's always bringing out the whiteboard, answering all the questions. I have a lot. So he's really helpful, yeah.
Now, we can talk ill of Rob Casher. He's not there anymore. We can say, no, I'm only joking. We
love Rob.
He's a lovely, lovely man. And he would have certainly, one of the legacies, I guess, that Rob has left behind is pushing a lot of young players as well. I guess, a lot of the big name players had left, particularly when Galaxy left the NPLW scene and came into VPLW. But a flip side of that was the emergence of a lot of good young players, and you're one of them, I guess. And like I said to Marina, I had the pleasure of calling a lot of Galaxy games last year, and some of the girls that are playing there, you'd think that they were in their 20s, how mature they were when they approached football. Now you're only 16, 17, so you were 16 when you made your debut?
Yeah.
What was it like, stepping basically from junior football straight into senior football at such a tender age? Were you at first overawed by having some of the ladies there, or were they very supportive there in the dressing room as well?
At first, when it was Rob who gave me my first opportunity, so thank you, Rob. But I remember when he sent me a text, I remember in the car before the game, I was in tears. I was so stressed and nervous, and a bit of imposter syndrome, I wasn't good enough to play with all the girls. But definitely the second you step in the change room, it's so good. It's like a second family, so really welcoming. And my first game, I think, had a bit of nervous jitters, but you settle into it so well, and I was so welcoming. Yeah.
And who were the ones that maybe took you under their wing, or whether it be the players or whether it be support staff? Who was some of the last year, that is? Who were some of the females there that were really, really encouraging and helpful?
Well, I definitely have to mention Anne, Rob's wife. She was our team.
Brilliant.
And she used to bring me Kit Kats every game, so that definitely kept me going. But players-wise, obviously she's an awesome leader, and she's always looking out for us young girls, and she's a really good role model. So, yeah, definitely. And basically all of the girls, Christy, she was always giving us rides, which is really helpful, and, like, you're definitely straight into, like, the friendship group, not just a team. Tara, don't think she's with us this year, but she was definitely great, like a little mum on the pitch. So, yeah, all the girls.
What a great circle of and support network that you had there. Now, interestingly, last year as well, numbers were a bit short. Did you find yourself being one of the players that was backing up and putting in time in the reserves and the seniors on the same day? I remember one day where the girls got the win up at Eltham Redbacks, but by the end of the game in the seniors, everyone was completely cooked playing on a synthetic surface after playing 2 full games and just hanging on to get the win and probably collapsing on the final whistle.
Yeah, exactly. I was definitely playing lots of games last year, but then again, everyone was putting in that effort. And at the end of the day, like, if it's needed, everyone's really happy to. And whilst it was really physically demanding, like, it's obvious in our preseason, all the extra Ks under the leg, all the extra time on the pitch, like, it's made us a lot better. And it's also brought us a lot closer as a team when you're spending that much time together in such a, like, pressured situation kind of thing. Like, you have a lot of pressure on yourself. It definitely brought us a lot closer together. And now when we play on the pitch, we know exactly where we all are, and we can work so well without really communicating too much. It's really helpful.
And can we talk a bit about the preseason as well? Because when we were speaking to Marina, she touched on that there's been a big focus on strength and conditioning, as well as the technical and tactical development. Can you talk a bit about the work that you've had and the experts you've had come in for the strength and conditioning side of things?
Well, we've just started a new strength and conditioning program, and it's been really helpful for all the girls, especially with all the testing. It's really individually focused, and especially not only strength and conditioning, but also active recovery after our practice matches. And it's really set us up really well and kind of set the tone for the season and what's expected of the girls, but also, like, highlighting the support that's there for us and that we're not alone. Like, we've got all these people behind the scenes helping us, and it's not just the people you see on the pitch at the end of the day, it's all the people behind the scenes. Yeah, it's really helpful.
Yeah, now we can see some footage from the weekend game. Now, this was played at Hume Reserve, friendly game against Ashburton, I believe. Take us through the game, and what was the score? And did you end up playing?
Yeah, I did. So I started, and the end score was 11-0. So it was a really great outcome. A lot of confidence for the girls after that. We had the debut game of 2 of our new international players, Katie and Kylie, and they fit really, really well into the team. And that Katie scored a hat trick, and I'm pretty sure Kylie got 2 as well. So as I said, they shown straight away. And basically it was weather-wise really demanding. It was pouring rain, a bit chilly. But as I said, like, 11-0, you can't be more happy than that. It was great, getting heaps of runs down the wing. We know a few areas that we need to improve on, but yeah, really happy.
Fantastic.
Very good. And how are you juggling? You're doing year 12 this year as well. You're juggling. How many nights a week are we talking for training these days?
So we're training 3 days a week. I'm only doing 2 though, because obviously school takes a lot of time. But it's all right. There's lots of support from everyone. As I said, like, I've asked to take a day off a week, and everyone's really supportive and understanding. But at the end of the day, soccer's like my favourite thing to do, so I enjoy looking forward to it. And if my mum let me, I would probably train that extra night a week.
Oh, look, all jokes aside, I mean, it's still early days yet, but the school that you're at, we won't mention the school, but it's a very good, very pro soccer school or promotes soccer. But I guess it's a real good stress relief, isn't it, as well? It gives you something to, just a break from the study, from the books, and I suppose particularly later in the year when the pressure starts to really get up, it's a great little stress reliever, isn't it?
Definitely. At the end of a stressful day, like, it's really good to come and see the girls. As I said, they're your second family. So it's just like hanging out with friends for an hour and doing what you love. And anyone who knows me at training, like, I'm a bit of like the clown of the team kind of thing. So it's definitely really fun. And we love to have a good time. It's really fun. Yeah.
Is there anyone else in the ranks there at Galaxy that is a rival for the biggest joker other than yourself then, Makayla?
I won't name names, but they all pretty much sing to my level. Like, they'll look very serious on the pitch, but underneath, they're all jokes.
Yeah. How much has like the coach Jason Van Berkel? How much does he allow you guys to have fun, or how much is he like a real strict daddy type figure? Because he's a B licensed coach, and B licensed coaches, they take their football quite seriously, don't they?
Well, we all take it very seriously, but it's just a bit of a different approach to other clubs. Like, we perform a lot we perform a lot better when we're enjoying it. Whereas if we're under a lot of pressure and scrutiny, well, you're not going to perform. You're going to make a lot more mistakes. Definitely at first, I felt a bit bad for Jason because his first training session were probably a bit like fun, like just being ourselves. And he was a bit like, oh, but he matches us. He has some jokes in there too. It took him a little bit to get our sense of humour, but he's definitely embracing it. And he knows that fun drills get us going and we're all participating and performing our best when we're happy. So what more could you ask for?
True. Excellent. And do we know what's in store for the rest of the pre-season before round one comes around? Have you got any trips away anywhere or any big friendlies coming up in the coming weeks?
Yeah, so we've got a friendly basically every week bar this weekend. And so this week we're going, because we obviously have no game, we're going to go rock climbing on Thursday. So we might have some injuries after that, some people sitting out round one, but we're definitely going to be closer as a team.
Well, hopefully no one cuts anyone's ripcord there, and if they're a rival spot for the team or anything like that. Definitely.
Yeah. MAKAYLA, first round kicks off on Sunday, the 3rd of April. That's at the Salandra Recreation Reserve in Melbourne, when Galaxy travels away to an old rival, Southern United Football Club. There's a bit of a rivalry developing with Southern United, the other club that was, I guess, demoted from the NPLW into the VPLW.
Restructured out. Yeah.
Restructured, yeah. Tell us a little bit about them. Do we know much about them? Have they picked up any players in the off season? Are they similar to what they were last year? Has anyone sent out any reconnaissance over into enemy territory and find out?
There's a spy there. There's a Marcelo Bielsa style spy with binoculars in the long grass watching Southern
Before
United.
You say anything, Nick Williams has said, "Don't jinx us, Macca." So whatever you say, don't put the jinx.
No, I won't, Nick, trust. No, I'm not too sure about their new players who they've recruited over the off season, but definitely we have played them a lot in the past, and there is a bit of a rivalry. A very physical side, tends to be a very intense game, but we've versed them heaps in the past, and so hopefully we can just learn from all the times we've played them. We've developed a little bit of a strategy. And it's definitely been on all of our minds. So it's a bit of a tough one for the first game, especially being an away one. But hopefully we can cop a win and kind of just set the vibe for the season. It'd be good.
Well, that would be the perfect start if you can get off to a win against them. Nothing could kick off the season better than that. So certainly from us, we wish you the best of luck with your season, and thanks for your time tonight. Unless, Tonchi, you have any more questions to fire at MAKAYLA?
One last question. You personally, MAKAYLA, what's the plans? I mean, you're 17, you've got VCE this year, you've got a lot on your books this year, a lot on your hands. What's your ambitions? Where do you want to play at a higher level? Do you in years to come, will we be seeing MAKAYLA Staeher pull on the Matildas Guernsey? How far do you want to get with your football?
Well, I'm not sure I'm that good, but I definitely have a lot of ideas of what I want to do. Involves travel, definitely playing soccer. I mean, it's what makes me happy, so I'd love to continue. But it's kind of all up in the air at the moment. We'll just see how it goes. I'd love to keep playing, though. Definitely.
Yeah. One thing at a time, concentrate on the VCE and Galaxy this year. And with that in mind, we wish you all the very best for season 2022. Cannot wait. And Sunday, 10th of April, is going to be Galaxy's first home game at Hume Reserve at its new ground. That's against Casey Comets. So, folks, pencil that down in your diary. And by that stage, hopefully the new club rooms will be up and ready to go at Hume Reserve. We look forward to that and look forward to seeing you in action in 2022, MAKAYLA.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
MAKAYLA Staeher, a bubbly little girl. She's fantastic. She's a bundle of energy on the field, and it's great to see. Great to see that sort of talent coming up through the ranks. So, Steve, next week, shall we chat a little bit about next week as well?
Can we give away? We might be speaking to some of the more veteran listed footballers in the region. Should we say
from some of the younger players to some of the older players? Yeah. Next week, it's all about the Masters Summer League. It's been going from strength to strength, and as we mentioned at the top of the show, Steve, they've got a beer named after them. How good is that? Like, that is just incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic. Might have to see if we can find to get one as a prop on in the studio here next week, maybe.
But beers and old blokes pulling on the soccer boots and thinking that they're 21 aside, there is a very serious underlying, I guess, message about the Masters Summer League, and it's to do with men's health, and we look forward to finding out more about that. That'll be in next week's show. But before then, Steve, I do implore all the fans out there, all the viewers, all the listeners to become a member of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Show your support from as little as $15 to as much as $30 a month, which is just pocket money these days with inflation. Sign up as a member and go to www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. Thank you to the Geelong Galaxy United Football Club, who were our sponsors for tonight. And Wednesday, Oscrow Soccer Show at 8:30 p.m. will be simulcast right here on this Facebook page. Two young guns from Geelong trying to make it big and taking their first steps to their path to stardom. Luka Skorko and Nicholas Vladovic, they'll be the special guests on the show. So lots happening in football circles this week, Steve.
Mate. Yeah, looking forward to seeing the chat with the boys there and hearing more about their experiences in Croatia. I think it's a must-watch because that's going to be very interesting. It's always that sort of thing. You remember being a youngster and thinking, oh, imagine if I could somehow, go on a trial in a European country, a foreign country, and what it would be like. Well, you can find out.
Yeah, and I suppose Luka always has that difficulty of living in his dad's shadows and how he's carving his own unique individual career path, I suppose. That will be interesting to find out. But stay tuned for that. But next week, folks, join us at 8 p.m. Monday night, and prior to that on the Sunday night as well, the Football Out West show. So, Steve, mate, have a good week. I look forward to catching up with you on Sunday with the Football Out West show, and then next Monday night with episode 74 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
You too. Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure, and thanks to everyone who tuned in, enjoyed the show, and got into the comments. We love your feedback and your involvement in the show, and love your work as well, Tonch. Thanks very much.
Good on you. Folks, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. Really, really appreciate it. Until next week, good night.